guys know what it means to be two-faced? You ever met anybody two-faced? Because if you have and you know what it means, you don't like that person. I am not a two-faced guy. I would be two-faced to Cory Sandhagen if he walked in here right now. I'd be, oh, hey, Cory, hey, I'm Chael, yeah, with ESPN, man, how you doing? I followed your career. Like, I would put that whole rap on him. But that's not to make up for what I say behind his back. I don't think he knows. And my entire premise of the term Sandhagen, he pulled a Sandhagen, means you don't know what's going on within the sport that you're in or the division where you're competing. So I don't know that he would know who or what a Chael is. I don't know if he knows how to find me. I don't know. But it would seem that way. And while I believe I'm clearly exaggerating, there is a chance that he doesn't know this is for the championship. Like, that champ exists. You guys remember what Cory did, right? Cory has a big win. I think it was over Frankie Edgar. They come into the ring, the announce team, who's getting instructions from the truck, who's getting them from the boss. And they tee him up to become the number one contender right there. Live television, they are teeing him up to become the number one contender. All he has to do is accept it, which was a rumor that had been going around for almost 2 weeks. Because we believed that Aljo was the number one contender. We believed that Aljo won number one contendership the night that he beat Cory, but it was never spoke about again. And it looked as though all the attention was going to Cory, and it was true, and it was. Sandhagen had no idea what was happening. I knew what was happening at home. He did not know enough about his own division to know what was happening or to catch the clues in the moment when Paul Felder is handing him a number one contendership. And we call that a Sandhagen. He says right there in what was supposed to be his moment, Aljo should get the shot. Well, by God, guess who got the shot? Aljo goes on to become the champion. You know what, guys? I must stand down here for a moment. Did you know I did a comedy show a couple of weeks ago? I did a comedy show with Adam Hunter. It pertains to Aljo. I got distracted. Do you mind a little distraction? I did a comedy show with Adam Hunter. Now, it was a Thursday night and we sold out. In all fairness, it was a small venue. It was Dean Thomas, Henry Cejudo, myself, Adam Hunter, in that order. Now, it was for broadcast reasons, meaning that Fight Pass bought it. So Fight Pass has this. You guys will be able to see it and enjoy it. I just know in the edit, my big joke is going to get cut. And my big joke in my big moment, my first time on stage, was off the cuff. Because when I get on stage, I lock eyes with Aljo, who nobody told me he was going to be there. I'm buddies with Aljo. He doesn't text me, hey, coming to watch your show tonight. He says nothing. Champion of the world's right there. So on stage, I say, ladies and gentlemen, Aljo, who made history this year. He became the world champion by getting knocked out. And generally, to make some money and get a whole bunch of headlines in this sport, getting your ass whipped, you got to have kids with John Jones. It was a huge joke. I burned the place down. The place was on fire. And I know that's never going to see the light of day, and I want credit for the joke because it was timely. The insensitivity of the joke, yes, I'm well aware. The timeliness of the joke, because the show was 2 weeks ago. What was I talking about? Cory Sandhagen. I'm back on track. Okay. So, is Sandhagen going to pull a Sandhagen and he doesn't know this is for the World Championship? He would have reason to not know it's for the World Championship, considering Aljo is the world champion. Now, the organization started something, but I think that precedes Cory's level of attention to the sport, called an interim championship. I think that he knows about it, but I've seen weirder things, guys. If I was to tie this in with what Yoel Romero did in his Bellator debut, he loses 3 rounds to Phil Davis, and then he's bouncing around when the fight's over, thinking they're going into rounds 4 and 5. Yoel Romero has never pulled a whopper on us. Of all the excuses I have ever heard, I have never heard one that big. I have sitting around and written brilliant ones for social media about myself. I never thought to do that. I don't think he's lying. I don't think Yoel Romero's making up an excuse. I think Yoel Romero thought he was going into a 5-round fight. He looked genuinely surprised. And if you follow Yoel's career, he will throw minutes and even rounds away. And then he knows where the finish line is. He'll put his foot down on the pedal and he'll get your ass out of there. I can tell you off the top of my head 4 guys that he's done that to, where he's lost the entire fight and then puts his foot down and gets a TKO and goes home the winner. I can tell you countless wrestling matches I watched him do that in. Dragon, knows when the clock's ticking, boom, hits his big score, wins, moves on to the next round. It's just something that Yoel does. I offer you that because I'm not sure that Yoel was offering an excuse or a swerve or a lie or a troll. I think he thought there was 2 rounds left, and if Sandhagen knows that he lost his last fight, he may not know that this is for the championship. If he knows that Petr Yan lost his last fight, look, you don't just have 2 guys coming into a world title fight that lost their last fights. You have 2. Petr Yan's last fight, Petr Yan lost. Cory Sandhagen's last fight, Cory Sandhagen lost. And you know what? They should be fighting for an interim championship. And you know what? They're the right 2 guys to be fighting for an interim championship. There is a lot of moving parts at 135 pounds right now. Sandhagen's performance left a lot of people thinking, you're the guy, even if they didn't raise his hand. Petr Yan's performance had a lot of people think, man, you could have won that fight, even if you didn't. So now you have Aljo that's out. You have TJ Dillashaw, who's a former champion that never lost the belt, by the way, but he's on the sidelines. And what do? You go to the next best thing. Of course, that's what you do. This isn't the Undisputed Championship. It's the Interim Championship. It's the next best thing. This is the next best thing. It doesn't matter if they're coming off a loss. It's very relevant that you hear that, though. I have seen some guys hang their heads so low after they get beat, not know how to recover, not know how to bounce back, see that long trail moving forward that's insurmountable. It's just, I can never come back. I'm done. My dreams are, I'm going to have to change course. I'm going to be one of the guys. I'm going to collect a paycheck. I'm just going to retire and walk away. I've seen that too. I talk about the wonderful Joanna. Joanna Champion might be dealing with something along those lines right now. She is the next best thing. But where's the opportunity? I do think as you start to look at this landscape, it's very relevant that you do fully understand. Because I've heard this said about Sandhagen. Sandhagen lost his last fight, but now he gets to fight for the belt. This is shenanigans. So did Yan. Petr Yan lost his last fight as well. So you have 2 guys who might be down and out, who some would be busted and disgusted. Yan bounced right back. To hell with that decision. I'm getting my belt back. I mean, Yan didn't lose a day. I respect that. I respect a lot about what Yan does, but his attitude to bounce back, Sandhagen to answer that phone. A lot of guys, they lose it. They're depressed. They're depressed, you freaking babies. But it happens. This is not the real tough guy business. This is the fake tough guy business. These guys get their feelings hurt. They don't return. They don't answer. Cory Sandhagen picked up, got offered an opportunity, and said yes. Cory's not the only guy coming to a world title fight off of a loss. So is his opponent. With that said, guys, my official prediction for Sandhagen versus Yan, I'm going Sandhagen. I just see a little bit bigger bounce. I just see a little bit bigger motivation. Don't forget, Yan is a stand-up fighter. Show me one guy who's ever got the best of Cory on their feet. I don't have evidence. I just don't have evidence. I think reach does matter when you know how to use it. We can all agree Cory does. A little bit more dynamic, going to deal with some power of Yan. It'd be an upset, but I'm taking Sandhagen. He won't know. Somebody will have to tell him after the fact. Maybe the night he defends, he'll realize he's the champion. But either way, Cory Sandhagen.